If you have ever played Phasmophobia with friends, you probably know the feeling. You load into a map, joke around for a minute, maybe mess with the equipment, and then something small happens. A door creaks, a radio crackles, someone's sanity drops a little too fast, and suddenly, nobody's laughing anymore. Phasmophobia is interesting, because it doesn't really try to scare you in obvious ways. There aren't many jump scares, there's no dramatic music telling you when to panic, and most of the time nothing is actually happening, and yet it's one of the most stressful horror games to play, especially in co-op. Big reason for that is how the ghosts work. Each ghost in Phasmophobia doesn't just look different, they behave differently. They change how you move, where you stand, how you communicate, and even how safe you feel around your own teammates. Some ghosts punish you for moving too much, some for hiding, and some for trusting things like lights or equipment. In this video, I'm going to break down how specific ghost types in Phasmophobia like the Banshee, Dio, Demon, and others use unique mechanics to mess with the player behaviour and create tension. Not by throwing scares at you, but by slowly making you feel like you're doing something wrong, even when you're not. If you wish to see part 2 and 3 of this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that way you get notified whenever I upload. First up, the Banshee. The evidence you can get for a Banshee ghost is ultraviolet, ghost orbs, and dots. The Banshee is one of the clearest examples of Phasmophobia using personalised fear rather than group-wide danger. From the very beginning of a round, the Banshee selects a single player as its target. What makes this especially important is that the Banshee's hunting behaviour is based entirely on the sanity of that chosen player, rather than the team's average sanity. This dramatically shifts how players approach teamwork. One player effectively becomes the centre of danger while others may feel relatively safe, sometimes dangerously so. During a hunt, the Banshee will only pursue its target, meaning that other players can quite literally walk directly through the ghost without being harmed. This mechanic intentionally breaks player expectations and can lead to fatal mistakes if players assume the rules apply equally to everyone. Audio design plays a major role in reinforcing the Banshee's identity. When using a parabolic microphone or sound recorder, there is a 33% chance to hear one of the 20 unique Banshee screams. Rewarding players who use specialised equipment and pay attention to subtle audio cues. The Banshee also prefers singing ghost events, further strengthening its thematic consistency and making it easier to identify through behaviour alone. Mechanically, the Banshee hunts when its target's sanity drops below 50%, regardless of the sanity of the rest of the team. Outside of hunts, it will also attempt to roam towards its chosen target while in the dots state, creating persistent pressure even during the investigation phase. This constant sense of being followed makes the Banshee psychologically unsettling as the threat feels personal rather than random. Next up is the Diane. The evidence you get for Diane is EMF 5, ghost orbs, and spirit box. The Diane is a ghost designed around one core idea: movement equals risk. Unlike most ghosts, whose aggression is primarily tied to sanity, the Diane dynamically changes both its hunt threshold and speed based on how players behave around it. If a player is walking near the ghost, the Diane becomes significantly more dangerous. It can hunt at 65% sanity and moves at an aggressive 2.25 meters per second when a player is walking within 10 meters of it. This actively punishes nervous pacing, exploration without planning, and panic-induced movement, all very natural responses in a horror game. In contrast, if a player is near the ghost but remains stationary, the Diane's hunt speed drops to 1.2 meters per second, encouraging calm, controlled behaviour. When players are further than 10 meters away, the Diane hunts at 1.7 meters per second, which is a normal hunt speed, creating a middle ground between safety and danger. Another key mechanic is how line of sight works for the Diane. While it gains line of sight speed increases when it is more than 10 meters away from any player, this effect completely stops once it gets within 10 meters. This creates a sudden shift in danger, keeping encounters unpredictable and preventing players from relying on standard looping strategies. The Diane's design subtly trains the players to suppress panic, rewarding calm decision-making in situations designed to provoke fear, a strong example of psychological horror through mechanics. The next ghost we will be covering is the Diogen. The Diogen's evidence is spirit box, ghost writing, and dots. The Diogen is arguably one of the most terrifying ghosts in Phasmophobia, although it is one of my favourites, because it removes the illusion of safety. Unlike most ghosts, the Diogen always knows where the player is during a hunt. Hiding is not only ineffective, it is actively dangerous. This ghost is extremely fast when far away, hunting at 3 meters per second, but slows dramatically to just 0.4 meters per second as it approaches the targeted player. Happy, it's a Dio.
It's a
Happy,
Dio.
it's a Dio. Happy it's a Dio. This focuses players into a completely different survival strategy. Instead of hiding, they must stay calm, keep moving, and carefully manage distance. Happy!
I'm so cooked!
Happy!
I'm fucking smart!
Oh, for God's sake!
Oh, Happy.
No!
The Diogen is also more visible during hunts, reinforcing the idea that it is meant to be tracked rather than avoided. Its behaviour turns hunts into tense endurance tests rather than moments of sudden death. Audio cues once again play a crucial role. There is a 33% chance that the Diogen will produce heavy breathing through the spirit box when a player is within 1 meter of it, creating an intensely uncomfortable sense of proximity. On lower evidence difficulties, the Diogen is also guaranteed to give spirit box evidence, ensuring that its presence can still be confirmed even when information is limited. The Diogen doesn't hunt until around 40% average sanity, but once it does, the encounter feels inevitable, a powerful use of delayed threat to heighten fear. The next ghost we are going to cover is the demon. The evidence for a demon is ultraviolet, ghostwriting, and freezing temperatures. The demon represents relentless aggression. Its defining feature is its ability to hunt at any sanity level, meaning players are never truly safe, although it typically hunts around 70% sanity. The knowledge that a hunt could happen at any moment fundamentally changes how players behave.
Wait. I hope so.
Wait, please, it was normal speed, it should be. Yes?
Welcome back. I've got some
Come
jobs
on.
ready for you.
Wait.
Yes! I got it! After being smudged, the demon can hunt again after 60 seconds, compared to the standard 90. It can also hunt 20 seconds after a previous hunt ends or after a crucifix is burnt without being smudged, drastically reducing recovery time. Even defensive tools behave differently. The demon's crucifix range is increased by 50% per tier, which can give players a false sense of security. While this appears beneficial, it often encourages players to take risks they otherwise wouldn't, a clever subversion of player trust. The demon teaches players that hesitation is dangerous and reinforces Phasmophobia's core theme: the longer you stay, the higher the risk. The next ghost that we are going to talk about is the Gallo. The evidence you can get for a Gallo is EMF 5, UV, and Spirit Box. The Gallo is one of the most mechanically complex ghosts in the game, cycling through 3 distinct states: normal, enraged, and weakened. Each state changes how the ghost hunts, interacts with equipment, and responds to player actions. In its normal state, the Gallo hunts at 1.7 meters per second and behaves predictably. However, stepping in salt, burning a crucifix, or using incense will put it into its enraged state. In this state, it hunts at 60% average sanity, moves faster at 1.96 meters per second, becomes blinded by incense for only 4 seconds, and becomes less affected by crucifixes, losing 2 meters of effectiveness. It also stops stepping in salt entirely. In contrast, the weakened state slows the Gallo to 1.36 meters per second, raises survivability, and lowers its hunt threshold to 40% sanity. Incense blinds it for 6 seconds, and crucifixes gain an extra 1 meter of effectiveness. This state-based system rewards players who understand cause and effect rather than relying solely on evidence, making the Gallo a strong example of adaptive AI design. The next ghost we are going to cover is the Goryo. The evidence for a Goryo is EMF 5, UV, and dots. The Goryo creates fear through limitation. Its dots evidence will only appear on camera and only when no player is in the same room, forcing players to observe from a distance. This removes the comfort of direct confirmation and replaces it with anxious surveillance.
I don't understand what's happening. Dude, that was like 3 ghost events back to back. I don't understand.
It's spawning. The Goryo also cannot change its favourite room, and rarely wanders, creating a sense of territorial dominance. It enters dot state more frequently than other ghosts and is guaranteed dots evidence on low evidence difficulties, with a hunt speed of 1.7 meters per second and a 50% average sanity hunt threshold. The Goryo is not fast, but it is oppressive, turning its room into a space players fear entering. The next ghost that we are going to cover is the Hantu. A Hantu's evidence is UV, ghost orbs, and freezing. The Hantu's behaviour is entirely shaped by temperature. It moves faster in colder areas, reaching 2.7 meters per second, and slows to 1.4 meters per second in warmer rooms. It cannot turn on the breaker and is more likely to turn it off, ensuring the environment remains cold and hostile. During hunts, if the breaker is off or broken, the Hantu produces visible cold breath, offering a rare visual identifier. The lack of line of sight speed increases makes the Hantu predictable, but its reliance on environmental control makes it constantly threatening. Next, we will be covering two ghosts in one, as they are kind of two in the same. The Jinn and the Mare. The Jinn's evidence is EMF 5, ultraviolet, and freezing temps. And the Mare is spirit box, ghost orbs, and ghostwriting. The Jinn draws power from electricity. With the breaker on, it can instantly accelerate to 2.5 meters per second when it has line of sight and the player is more than 3 meters away. It cannot turn off the breaker and can drain 25% sanity through it by purely touching the breaker door, using EMF as a warning. The Mare, however, thrives in darkness. It hunts at 60% sanity when lights are off, but only 40% when lights are on. It actively turns off lights and breaks them, and can immediately shut off lights a player turns on within 4 meters. Together, they represent opposing environmental threats, one tied to power, the other to darkness. And those are the first 9 ghosts in my full ghost guide of Phasmophobia. I will be posting part 2, hopefully tomorrow, late afternoon, but until then, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you wish to see part 2, and I will see you guys later. Bye!